AudioLab, devlog number 4. Let's make it official. I need to see this thing through to some state of completeness before I can actually come back to the games that need to use it. So, I've been working real hard on this, as usual. You might notice the most obvious thing is colors and graphics and fonts and stuff are different. So, my text was too large to fit everything in the space I wanted to fit it in. And using the Foresight Fight font as I was just didn't really fit the space, and weirdly enough, the easiest solution was to draw a new font at a slightly different size. Doesn't take as much effort as it might sound like. It's about an hour from concept to finished product to put a font like this together. I should show the process someday. It's pretty simple. And I decided to change the background color for various reasons, and I just felt like redrawing the slider graphics. So I did. Sliders look like this now. Oh yeah, I'm using some new stuff here. I'll explain that in a moment. That moment is now. I'm not extremely prepared for this. Once again. It's fine though. Okay, so right, I showed off wave shape before. This still works roughly the same as it did before. I have a few more things in here now. But I do have also the amplitude and frequency curves. So when I come to the screen first, just the default is wave shape sine at this frequency. Right, frequency curve flat to 20. I can change that and it'll change its frequency. This graphs it out. Amplitude, ADSR, attack, decay, sustain, release. So attack is the width of this upward line. Decay is this one. Sustain is this one. Release is this one, as you might expect. And you know, I can change the shape of that if I want to change the audio dynamics and overall length of the thing, because the length is determined by adding these together. These values are in seconds. And then the amplitude of this and this are the other two parameters. So, you know, you can hear and see clearly what those do. So this is linear ADSR. I could have a gentler curve here that, you know, didn't just like consist of 4 straight lines, but linear is pretty much good enough for things. So, you know, this is the sort of amplitude curve that I would use for most instrument samples, and I'm doing this with an eye toward putting together parameters for instruments to use with my sequencer. I can also do some other things here. I have a flat amplitude curve. So, you know, just the same amplitude the whole way through if you want that. You can change length. So, you know, 1.4 seconds, 0.3 seconds or so. And this one can also be edited with a spline. So real loud, getting quieter. You know, I can drag this around just like I did with the wave shape there. My spline editor is a little nicer now, but, you know, it's still not, like, superb. Whoa. How does this... Oh. I found a bug. Something is... It's like the x-coordinate of this is not being respected here. Or... Okay, so that's determining the overall length of the... Oh, geez, this doesn't work very well at all. Well, I never use the spline part of this. Okay, so this is weird. This is the maximum time length of this, apparently. I'm just drawing this much of the spline. If I drag it over here, that's a very short sample, but it's graphing as if like this is the entire... All right, yeah, you can see what's happening there. It's not great. I mostly just use the ADSR thingy for that. Frequency, similarly, I have a few different options. I have stair step here. So this is basically simulating stuff like in SFXer if I would use, let's do BFXer actually. Beep. It's, what is it called? ARP speed, ARP mod. Yeah, I can see that moving the waveform. So that's, so the speed determines when this change happens. The mod determines how much it changes, but then it redoes it because of something. Why does it go back up? SFXer doesn't. So BFXer has like 2 stair steps here. I guess it... Why does it do that? So repeat speed. But this doesn't... I mean, I could put a negative value in here. That doesn't do it. What? Well, I don't know why this is behaving this way. This is very strange. Yep, don't have a ready explanation for that, but here's ARP speed 2. That seems all wrong, though. Why is... I mean, it doesn't matter too much. But it's weird. I feel like something is very wrong here. Like, this tail section should not go back to the base frequency again. Anyway, so what I'm doing is simulating... Whoops, I showed something. Well, yeah, we'll get to that. Simulating that, essentially. So I can change, like... how long it is before that changes frequency, how much it changes by. And I can do each step individually. And I can have an arbitrary number of steps here. Why does that sound... Wait, did this not... I see what happened. Okay, by clicking the add button, I didn't make my audio dirty and therefore make it re-render. So I wasn't hearing those changes just by adding steps. That's fine. As soon as I poked a slider, it realized it needed to re-render the audio. Each one is relative to the previous one. Yeah, okay, this UI is not great, but you know, it does things. I can tell what's going on. So yeah, arbitrary number and spacing and change amount of frequency steps there. So you know, this is basically this mess, but a different kind of mess that's technically more capable but no easier to use. So you know, it's something. Then I have a ramp if I want that. So this is the equivalent of okay, let's reset this. Beep. Equivalent of that and that. So ramp and dramp. Same sort of thing. Let's do it with a pulse wave. Oh, that's way too loud. Let's do it with a quieter pulse wave. Shh. You're still too loud. Pulse waves are very noisy. Let's not do it with a pulse wave. Let's go back to that. If I press those two buttons, it doesn't reset this. I don't have a reset button on this. That's fine. Don't worry about it. And then I can spline this. Does the spline work any better than the amplitude one did? Okay, now you're too quiet. Pulse waves are very loud. Sine waves are relatively much quieter. Okay, yeah, so this goes up and then it goes back down. See, now I do understand why this is changing because I moved this left of the rightmost part of that. So yeah, spline editor makes a lot more sense for the frequency curve than it does for amplitude and wave shape, I think. Still don't use it much there. But I haven't settled in to do any serious work in this thing yet. Anyway, yeah, so pretty obvious what those things do. So I at least have the skeleton of something good here, and it kind of works. It does some good things. Wave, I now also have a... Okay, you're going to need to be quieter than that. Let's just... I don't want to go to flat. Let's just make this quieter then. I also have a noise wave type, which is new. And I had to learn some things about generating noise. It's not quite as simple as just a random number for every sample. There's a little more to it than that. I mean, you can see these little sharp shapes here. Like, if I want to do different frequencies of noise, then a random number for every sample doesn't exactly do that. So, like, yeah, you can hear the frequency ramping down there and actually making a change. So what this does is it actually changes sample at a particular amount of... Like, it repeats the previous sample for a certain amount of time based on the frequency is how this works. Or I can smooth it out and have it shaped like that. I can use a different random seed if I want to. Huh, I can barely tell a difference. I can hear the difference. It's subtle, though. It's more obvious for certain other cases. Anyway, yeah, so got a noise sample there. Beyond a certain frequency, there's just no difference in increasing the frequency. As when I get to the point where I'm using a random number per sample output, then it can't get any higher frequency than that. That's just how noise works. And then I have this other thing, sine plus overtones. This is kind of just my bucket of extra parameters that I dumped because I don't know where to put them yet. So how it started out was as a sine sampler like this. But with overtones, as the name implies, overtones being this thing I talked about last time that BFXer doesn't actually do extremely well. It adds a bunch of distortion on top of it whenever so if I go to sine and I add one step of harmonics, this only does it in whole numbers, I can see, oh geez, that gets all confused if oh geez, that's unpleasant. So got some overflowing going on that makes that extremely loud and nasty. I should do something about that. How can I zoom in better on this? Just make the sound shorter, for one thing. That's as short as a sound can get, I guess. But yeah, you can see how this is getting chopped off on top. Because it's adding another sine wave without reducing the volume of the initial one. And there's no way to actually preserve that shape in BFXer that I know. So screen 2, I'll get to you eventually. So I have this doing it a slightly different way. So I can add fractions of an overtone. So this is 1 extra exactly. This is 0 extras exactly. In the in-between values, I just interpolate the amplitude of the added wave. So yeah, this is adding. Let's see. So it's a sine wave together with a second sine wave at twice the frequency, I think, is what this value means, and half the amplitude, but then the overall thing basically has its amplitude divided by 1.5. If I want to simulate the effect of what BFXer does, then I have this distortion slider, which can cause some clipping there. Oops, gotta get out of that text field, go here. Here. Bip. Be a little quieter, and a little longer, and a little less frequency rampy. No, that doesn't match. Okay, well it needs to be a higher frequency for one thing. Oh geez, this is a mess. Default SFXer frequency is somewhere around 320 or so. You can hear that's reasonably similar. It's not exactly the same, but it's making approximately the same shape. Like I was just baffled by why it did not sound the same when I did this. I think that's a completely different sound, but figured out it's because of the distortion introduced by this math. Anyway, yeah, so this one is kind of a lot of fun to play with. So what each parameter means is this is number of extra sine waves combined. At whole numbers, it's just number of waves. At partial numbers, it just interpolates the closest one by amplitude. So if I turn on test wave, okay, I guess I did move my frequency down there. If I control click this, do you go back to 220? You do. All right, this will work. So that's what it sounds like to ramp that up and down at that frequency spacing and amplitude fall off. So yeah, amplitude fall off is how much each overtone is de-amplified compared to the previous one. And frequency spacing is how much faster it goes. So yeah, frequency spacing 1, I guess, is... Yeah, so this will add, like, multiply by 1.5. So I guess it's like multiply by 1 plus this value for bass frequency. So if I turn this up to 1... Oh, that sounds interesting. Yeah, I can make a lot of interesting sounds with this. Let's turn on this checkbox. This slider, unfortunately, when I drag it, can't... It introduces some artifacting. I can't have it perfectly smooth to drag this one. Just because it changes the wave shape so much. I can't have, like, on parameter change, be sure that my current playback position is at a, what's the name for this? I don't actually have a word for, like, the vertical position of the waveform at a particular point, but just, the sample value can't necessarily line up to the same spot, and when it jumps, that's what makes those clicking noises. And because the shape is changing so much, I can't line it up. So we just have to deal with artifacting on that one. But like if I change the amplitude fall off, that one's perfectly smooth. Turn it down to 0, and that means the second and nth sine waves are amplitude of the first one times 0, so you just get a sine wave. But yeah, look at this fun stuff. So this tends toward a square wave if I turn these all the way up. Well, kinda? Sorta, not exactly. Well, it depends on the frequency spacing. If I put this at 1, like that's sort of like a triangle wave, not exactly. No, that's something different, something unique. And yeah, frequency spacing does some real interesting things. It's not usually very pretty at values other than like 0.5 or 1, or close to it. 0.5 does an interesting thing. 1 is probably the most harmonious sounding, and that matches what BFXer does. How about like 1.5? It gets that kind of like ringing timbre to it. Like a bell, kinda. Makes that sort of jingly noise when I drag this slider up. It's just the consequences of math. It's fascinating. Not entirely sure how to use this practically, though, but, it's fun to play with. Again, I've made some toys. I'm working on figuring out how to make them tools. Oh, yeah, and I have this checkbox here for if I don't want to make a lot of noise when I'm messing with parameters, I can just do those silently until I'm ready to do a thing again. And then I implemented some saving and loading for this. So I can save like this setup as a file if I want. Foresight Fight Assets Audio. I don't really want to save it in there. I should put it on the desktop where I have so much clutter that never seems to go away. Did you save? There it is. It takes a while for Windows to realize I saved something there. So, then I can mess up with these parameters, change this to something else, and, just whatever, something. Then if I load that file, it goes back to what I had. Of course, nothing too exciting. I also thought it might be interesting to be able to just stick a description of this on the clipboard. So this will be here in base 64. That's what the base 64 binary serialized list of parameters for this looks like. So, that's put on the clipboard somewhere. I can mess around with the parameters and, just make a big mess here. And then from clipboard, just immediately goes back to that thing that I had pasted there. So, I can just make a mess here, do something with that. I keep moving these sliders, even though these are not parameters that are saved here. So, like if I do clipboard that, I have this thing that's slightly different in some way. Copy from clipboard. Now we have that one. Copy from clipboard. And now we're back to where we just were. It'd probably also be useful just to have like a list of these that I could just stick into here and like click an item to toggle back and forth. Lots of little niceties I could do here. Anyway, so that's what I did on this screen. Now let's look at the sequencer screen. This looks a lot different. things have gone away, new things have been added. I am now using a synth instrument derived from this system for playing my audio here. So you know, this is the same song but with a different instrument playing it. I don't want to hear that again right now. I can change the BPM. Let's hear that a little faster. Oh, that crashes it. Wasn't that fun? All right. Why do you suppose that is? Let's debug. GDB. And go somewhere I can see you. Oh, right. This... Wait, signal question mark. What? WGL shell 680. This is unexpected. Have I not run this program under GDB on Windows before? Hold on. We're going somewhere with this. So WGL shell. You got me curious. 680, you say? I already had that source file open. I was messing with it today. Close handle? Close handle is a... No. What? Can I continue from here? No, it crashed. What? What is happening? That doesn't look like a good address to me. If duplicate handle, get current process. The heck? I don't know what's going on here. This is very strange. Okay, I guess I can't attach GDB to this right now. Okay, let's not debug. I have a bug so bad my debugger doesn't even understand it. Alright, so something deep in the Windows API is not happy with the way I'm calling it under that circumstance. Okay, whatever you say. I mean, it runs when I don't have a debugger attached. Alright, whatever you say. Let's not worry about it. Anyway, yeah, so BPM, does this just always crash when I change it? Yeah, sure does. Okay, let's not change BPM then. That's my solution. Alright, so anyway, I just got this thing. So this is a replacement for the old spatial music pattern view I had here before. It's not exactly better yet. It's getting there. I thought I might like to edit the sequence of notes as something more like a spreadsheet rather than just a spatial view where, you know, I'd punch out the particular spots like on a piano keyboard where I'm putting in notes. So, you know, this is an attempt at another way of viewing it. So F#2, C#3, F#3, C#4. Those are the notes that get played. Then this is silent. Then there's an F#3. The ... here means there's more to see. There's two fast notes. I can zoom in and see that right here it's a G#3 in the middle. Yeah, the zoom is not the best. It magnetizes to the cursor and keeps that in focus, but it's still a little hard to tell what's happening here. That's as far out as I can zoom. But I can edit this. It's a little hard to do. Let's see, let's delete a few notes. I'm gonna make a big mess here. I can't make a new pattern or change the length of this or anything. Okay, yeah, this is telling me there's another note in here that I just can't see at my current zoom level. So I had to zoom in. Wonder if I can change the time signature. Let's risk it. The answer is no. This will definitely not update if I try to input something new in this field, so let's not even try. Alright, so we get 6/4. That's the only time signature we get here. Anyway, yeah, so I'm just going to press some keys. A4. Here, let's play in A minor scale. That's nice and easy to do with what I've set up. Oop, F#. What do you mean F#? This is supposed to be a G. I just have my keybind set wrong. F4, F... Ah! What's happening? I don't know. Okay, I can't input a G. That's the best I can do for an A minor scale. Okay. So yeah, I'm working on getting this editable. It's not like, it's obviously not there yet. You know, I can zoom in and let's put some real fast notes in here. I'm just going to press some random keys. This will sound terrible. All right, there's some piano keyboard mashing. Yeah, so as you can tell, this is kind of in a state of mess right now. But, you know, through this messy process, I'm learning a lot of things. I'm reading many articles and books and things on audio synthesis, music composition, just figuring out my way through this experimental space. Yeah, and I'm experimenting with breaking new ground here, just trying things, seeing what'll happen. I'm slowly working my way toward turning this into an actual serious composition tool that I can use for the projects that I'm writing it for. But I need to give myself some space to experiment. Just kind of do some blue sky development, figure out what can I do with audio. You know, fun little toys like this could lead to something interesting. They might not always, but they could. And I'm going to give them the opportunity to do that. I mean, this thing is pretty cool. Like, listen to that weird noise I can make. Isn't that fun? Anyway, yeah, and I don't have a saving and loading mechanism for this. No, I don't. Those buttons just aren't wired to anything. That's what I thought. Okay, yeah, so, like, that's where I am. This is a progress update. I don't have a satisfying conclusion to anything right now, but, you know, I'm getting there. Got some fun toys. They'll turn into tools eventually. I'll see you next time.